Hello, everyone. It's the story I'm telling myself, and it's Wednesday, right? Am I not crazy, right, Misha? It's Wednesday. Today is Wednesday. Okay, great.
It is Wednesday as Wednesday it'll be.
It is Wednesday. Sometimes the week gets away with us just a little bit. I just have to check myself and make sure I'm not losing my mind. So welcome. Glad you are with us today. I love when you jump in the comments. So if you're here with us live, please come to the comments and say hello to us. And we would love to welcome you to the show. And of course, throughout the show, we want you to drop your questions, your comments, and engage with us in today's conversation. And my guest today is Misha, and I'm going to let her introduce herself to all of you. Go ahead.
Thank you, Rita. Hello, everyone. Misha Safran, and I am a keynote speaker, singer, songwriter, author, and leadership trainer. And I'm just delighted to be here to be able to talk about the stories I used to tell myself with Rita and Ignite Extraordinary. Thank you for having me.
Yes, it's so good to have you. And it's so good to be here with a speaker friend. So we are both part of the Innovation Women Speaker Group, and it's just so lovely to get to highlight you. Hey, Gary, great to have you here. I know it's evening in the UK. Good evening to you. You probably just finished tea, and so it's great that you are able to join us. I appreciate you being with us. So what was so compelling about our conversation when you and I connected to talk about doing this podcast together was that the visual that came in my mind was a wilting flower. And you said, oh my God, I wrote a song about my experience, and that is in the lyrics. So we got to catch everybody else up. Tell everyone who's listening the background story here about how you came to this moment where you felt like a wilting flower.
Yeah. Whew. So in 2013, I had a life-changing accident. And in 2014 was finally diagnosed with a condition that is basically not curable. And in the same year, my dad, my bonus mom, and my birth mother were all diagnosed with cancer. I was using a cane, a walker, and even a wheelchair. I was depleted. I was exhausted. And I truly felt like the joy had been completely sucked out of me. And honestly, I thought it had been sucked out of me before my mom's diagnosis. And then when my mom was diagnosed, I thought, does the universe even think I have more joy left? And I truly felt, I mean, felt like a wilting flower.
Yeah, like the world is just crumbling. Like it just, I can't even imagine. Like the first domino falls, and then the next one, and you think, well, we got to be done now. And then the next one comes, and then the next one comes. And so, I know I have a really strong internal critic that, just sounds off all the time in my head. And I'm just curious to know, what did you have sort of despair stories that were rolling in your head about this time?
Absolutely. I was a single mom. I was raising 3 boys. And the despair stories were, I don't want my boys to have to take care of me. And yet they did. Despair stories were, I don't want to lose my ability to do my passion, which at the time was teaching. I was a teacher and loved my middle schoolers, high schoolers, community college students. I loved teaching. And I ended up losing that. So it's almost like all of the things I despaired came true. They talk about the self-fulfilling prophecies, right?
Right.
And so, I definitely, I had suicidal ideation, definitely struggled with depression my whole life. And, with one thing after another, it felt like, it's kind of a weird thing to say, but life was lifing. And with life came death. And so when I lost my mom at the end of that year, it was almost like, I can't despair anymore. She wouldn't want me to despair. I need to find something else. But the despair was real. I had a lot of that.
Were you telling yourself something like, what did I do to deserve this? Like you felt like you were being punished? Or
Oh,
was
yeah.
it more something like, I'm being tested? Like how did your internal narrator receive all that was happening to you?
All of those stories. I'm being punished. I don't deserve this. I would think I would have these like, but I've had good karma. Like, what's going on here?
Yeah, I put all this good
Um,
stuff in the world. How could all this be happening to me? So this because I am a karma person too. So I find myself thinking, what did I do to deserve this?
yeah. And the test, I do believe that I was always told that the universe only gives you what you can handle. I'm like, well, they got the wrong person. They don't know who they're talking to here. But the reality is, yeah, I mean, every day is a test, every day. And I was an educator who liked alternative education. So those, regular tests, I had to give them, but I didn't like them and I didn't do well with them. So why are you, the universe, giving me all of these tests? And I don't know if it was to teach me to like tests or just teach me to realize that there's always learning. I'm a masterpiece in progress, and even a wilting flower can still soak in the sun's rays from time to time. Even a wilting flower can drink the nutrients from the soil, and get back up again.
Yeah, the visual of my head about the wilting flower, the flower is wilting under the enormous heat of the day, right? But when the sun sets, there is this period of time of when that intensity is no longer there, where there is this brief moment of reprieve. And did you feel like you were finding those? And were you living for those moments of reprieve, or did you just feel like you were baking in the sun nonstop?
Well, it's interesting that you use that reference, baking in the sun, because the song we referenced earlier that has this wilting flower in it is called Solar Powered.
Oh,
And so
wow.
I felt like when it was sunny, I actually would thrive more, because the rain and the change in the weather would completely debilitate me. So I wanted to bake in the sun. But I did feel reprieve. I'm someone who's often and more than often seen the cup halfway full, but also really seen the cup overflowing. And so I've managed to find ways to create my joy, which then would build my resilience to deal with the shoes dropping and the storms storming and the challenges challenging.
This feels like a really good time to share some of the song. I don't know if you want to read the lyrics, if you want to sing the lyrics, but your lyrics are so powerful. I actually haven't heard the tune that goes with them, but the lyrics are incredible. Do you feel like sharing some of that right now?
Yeah, yeah. So absolutely. Let me grab that. And my computer was acting up. So I'm going to now, I think I can get it now. Um, so the story is really about the way, again, it's called Solar Power. This is an original that I wrote. And it's about how the sun's power really fuels me. And so, what is it like when you first rise? Your light comes out to greet me, sharing your beauty and power, helping me write my song, giving me hope to blossom and radiate your love. What is it like when you touch the sky? So now it's up in the sky, right? You gently reach to hold me, giving me strength by warming this pained and weakened frame, caring so deeply to help me endure this ongoing storm. You bring me back, you keep me going. I look to you. I'm solar powered. You are my star. And then the phrase where the wilting flower is, then it's a bridge. Then I wilt like a flower who cannot drink, and I fall like a bird who's lost her wings, and I'd stop like a heart that cannot breathe. I cannot grow. I am not free. This pain is killing me. And it goes on, but that's the gist of it.
Wow. And I mean, for those words, songs are a form of poetry, right? For that to be what came from your heart and from your soul. I mean, this was a very difficult place in your life. Talk us through that solar power piece. How did you find the brighter rays to cling to? And how did you start to shift some of that internal story within yourself?
Yeah, well, I hate to say that it was my mom's death that liberated me to some degree because I was her primary caregiver for quite a while. And one of the things that I realized, and I shared this the other day in a presentation, that I was really just sitting there watching her die day after day, and inside feeling like I was dying because physically, emotionally, I was really torn apart. And I looked out the window, and right outside the window was a hummingbird just hovering right there at eye level. And it
Wow.
looked at me as if it was saying to me that I'm okay, that there are still things to appreciate, there's still joy to be held. And I turned around, and there my mom was sitting up in her red heart pajamas, and she had her hats and her wigs all around her. And she's like, "I don't know which one to wear." And I've all of a sudden got this idea. Let's do a photo shoot like Vogue. I'll be your paparazzi. You be the supermodel. And we just laughed. And from there, it went to
Uh,
another experience of let me get you your medicine, but let me get you a lime and some salt, and let's make it a mocktail, and then let's dance. We can only do it for 30 seconds. But so I started to build I felt rejuvenated from this hummingbird's
mm.
message of like, there's more here. Don't get stuck in the pain because then that's all you have. But if you are willing to let or even create that joy, then you can handle the pain. And, so she passed away a few weeks later, and that was in 2015. And in 2020, I've been building and building and building. And, we know the world shut down in 2020. But I was at a point now where I was focused on not only encouraging and embracing my own and cultivating my own joy, but helping others do the same. I haven't used a cane or a walker in 4.5 years.
It's phenomenal, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
So the
why?
joy
Tell
is
tell tell us why. What happened? Because it was not just the physical. The
no.
battle was mental, right?
Mhm.
And the preview we gave about this is around self-empathy. So you found the space with your mother where you realized that you could die every day with her, or you could bring life to her
Well,
every remaining day. And you chose the latter. And
yeah.
then we all go through our grief at the loss of the people we love.
Yeah.
How did you come out on the other side, deciding to take that learning and apply it to yourself?
It was a huge level of commitment. I really had to get willing to go see a naturopath, to have acupuncture. I did acupuncture every day for 10 days, and then 4 days a week, and then 3 days a week, and then two. So I was very consistent with renewing my body physically while I worked with a therapist. And I do a lot of work around codependency, a lot of self-healing around codependency, and identifying like I have to cultivate this for myself. I did a great job cultivating it for my mom in her last weeks, but I had to cultivate it for myself. And it really became consistency, starting to sing again, starting to write the music that was really soothing my soul, and then performing that for others, getting out there, being willing to be boldly visible. And then also, and you mentioned earlier that self-compassion and empathy, knowing that if I can't go somewhere today, I just have to know that that's not my choice today because my choice is to heal. So if it meant laying in bed all day, if it meant calling a friend, if it meant just, canceling some clients and just taking care of myself, that's what I started to develop, was my body and my heart knew better for me what my head knew. My head is like, keep going, you got this, or if you don't do it, you're bad. Like, no, 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 no. So it was really starting to be this culmination of bringing my head, heart, and gut together and identifying we're all one team. Let's talk to each other on a regular basis.
Yeah, well, it sounds like at the beginning, and this is a framework that traps so many of us in so many ways in our life. We get caught in the all or nothing framework. And
Yes,
so it sounds like at the beginning you were sort of in this place of all or nothing. So if you couldn't have the rich full life you had before, right? Then you were just sort of stuck, and that's where the depression came in. When you decided that you were ready to start working on the healing, then you gave yourself permission to have those days without allowing them to define what every day had to be. That and
absolutely.
letting go of that all or nothing, it's so huge.
Yeah, I think a lot of people get stuck in the ways other people define them or even the way they define themselves. One behavior, one action, one motion, that can't be what defines all of who we are. We
Right,
are so
right.
much more complex than that. We are so much more complex than that. And so, somebody makes a mistake, they show up late to work once, that doesn't mean they're always late. Somebody has, I've had situations, and it's painful to really believe it, but where people have judged me for using my disability placard. They don't know me. They don't know that I only use my disability placard when I really need it. I don't take advantage of the system, but they don't know that. And so they're going to see me, somebody who looks relatively young, somebody who looks relatively able bodied, and they're going to judge me for using my disability placard. That's their story. I can't take their definitions and assign them to me because I know who I am.
Yes, very good. And it just keeps circling back to Mel Robbins and the let them thing. But you were not the first person. I traveled last year. This coming weekend, I am headed to the World Happiness Summit. Last year, we were in London, England, and then I met a friend who has oh, I'm gonna forget the name of the disease, but it's um rheumatoid arthritis. That's what it is.
Mm. That's
And
painful.
like you, she looks relatively young and youthful. She is mobile most of the time, but there are times when she can do something for a certain period of time, but then if she overexerts herself, she's going to be down and need that disability placard to run to the grocery store or whatever it might be. And I got to see that firsthand because we were sharing a hotel room and traveling together. And I had only ever seen her navigating that with ease. I had never seen her navigating that in the struggle of when the rheumatoid arthritis flares so strongly. And
My
it is so
partner says that
easy.
go ahead.
It's so easy when you're able-bodied to just make up all kinds of stories about that are uninformed.
Yeah. My partner
What
often said, my partner often says that I can wear the mask pretty well, but then what's problematic about that is then when I really am in a bad situation, people don't understand because it's all for them, it's random, it's all of a sudden. And the truth is I have a very high pain tolerance. And so I will go and go until I can't go. And I'm learning now to not do that as much as I used to, because I used to be afraid that people would no longer invite me to events or things because I kept canceling. And so now I've gotten much better at letting people know I can't make it this time, but please don't forget about me for next time. I want to be able to participate and I have to exercise self care right now.
So for anyone who's listening that is sort of in the middle of trying to find their way to self-empathy, can you recall what were some of the internal stories you had to fight that wanted to take away that empathy for yourself and that willingness to accept those limitations?
Well, first, I want to address the stories that I didn't tell myself, that the stories that I was fed by many
Mm.
people in the medical system, which is that it was psychosomatic. So it took a year and a half to diagnose me. So by the end of that year and a half, when I did get diagnosed, I was feeling so much relief because there was finally a name to the pain. But it took me a while to believe again that there was something real because I had been attempted to be convinced that it was all in my head. So
Interesting.
oftentimes in the first few years, I had to tell myself, this is real. You're not making this up. This is real. You're not making this up. It's not, people might not believe you right away. People may never believe you because they're not experiencing it. But there were times where I had to say, are you making this up? Are you just trying to get attention? Are you being a victim? Like I was a pretty harsh critic of myself. And when it came to the day where I couldn't actually get out of bed, I was like, no, you couldn't possibly be making this up. The doctors can't be right about this. And then they weren't. They weren't right. I wasn't making it up. But it took a long time to combat that messaging that I received time
Yeah,
and
and
time
that's
again.
interesting that you're doing this for attention, that it's an attention-seeking ploy,
Mhm.
right? That people,
Yeah.
I can see where people would jump to conclusions like that. And gosh, that would work on you. That would
Yeah.
really work on you. So where did you find the strength to say, let them? And when people are feeling gaslit, that's the hardest thing. People are all often asking themselves, like, is this real or not real? Did you have somebody that you trusted or did you find all of that within yourself? I mean, that's such a tricky thing to navigate. I mean, I just think about people that I know that are experiencing microaggression in the workplace,
Mhm.
right? And they're asking themselves that question, like, is this all in my head? Am I just making too big of a deal of this? Is this really real? Like it is like you can feel it in your body. Like even as I say those words, I feel the anxiety and the panic and all of those things want to flood my system, and which makes it so much harder to get to empathy for yourself. So what wisdom or
Yeah.
advice can you share about how you were able to do that?
Well, for me, I mean, I was already doing a lot of really deep self-exploration before the accident. And so even though there was a lot of messaging that came through, I had to just keep checking in with myself. And oftentimes I'll hug myself or I'll put my hand on my heart and I just kind of check in like what's happening is real, or is there anything that you're needing that you're using this to try to get what you need? Because it's a human nature thing to try to manipulate or to, get what you want in different ways. And so making myself not bad for, I am wanting some attention, but I am also hurting. So letting it be a yes and letting it be that I feel this way and I'm not bad because of it. I'm feeling this way and I need support. And so allowing myself to be in both truths, right?
Hmm.
That I'm in a lot of pain. Could I do this by myself? Maybe. Would it be better and easier for the rest of my day if I asked somebody to support me and help me? Yes. Does that mean I'm a fraud? No. It means, like you said about your friend, I'm preserving my energy. And there was a woman, I don't remember the name, I wish I could, who had lupus, who's very similar to, so lupus is similar to fibromyalgia, rheumatoid arthritis, and some other conditions. And she wrote a story called it's called the 12 spoon theory. And it's about deciding how many spoons you have for the day. You have 12, but if you already use 3 spoons to get up and shower and brush and wash your hair, then you only have 9 spoons left. And so it may mean that by 3 in the afternoon, you might have to use your placard. Or it may mean that you have to ask a friend, would you be willing to pick this up from the grocery store for me? So being able to kind of embrace the fact that there's pain, there's loneliness, there's fear, there's anxiety around getting the help I need. And yes, I probably could do some of this on my own, but would really benefit from the help. and I'm not bad for wanting or asking for the help. So it comes back to that empathy, right? That self-compassion.
Yes. Yes. Well, and I know from both of my daughters, one has been diagnosed with clinical anxiety. The other one has not been diagnosed, but by comparison, I would say she's probably the same. My younger one, the year she was supposed to start kindergarten, my mother-in-law always came for, first day of kindergarten, for pictures and all that stuff, came and stayed at the house and celebrated. We always made a big deal about that. And my younger daughter loved school. She had been in preschool for years. I mean, she started preschool part-time when she was 2, and she actually wanted to spend extra time at preschool. She wanted the aftercare hours to play with her friends. She loved it because there's 5 years between my girls. So her older sister was in school all day. So she thought she should be in school all day. So it wasn't that she didn't like school, but my mother-in-law said, I think she has a lot of anxiety about going to kindergarten. And so the first day of school, sure enough, she wakes up, she has a fever. So I contact the school and I say, I'm sorry, Sarah will not be at school today. She has a fever. And, there's very strict guidelines. If you've had a fever within 24 hours, you're not supposed to go. So I'm like, so she's not going to be there tomorrow either, because there's no way she's going to be okay within 24 hours. So now she's in, and I think school started in the middle of the week. So it was like going to be 4 days that week. So she's already out for the first 2 days of school. And then it's she's looking better. And then we get to Wednesday evening. It's time to go to bed. She spikes a fever again. So I send the note to the school and I'm like, she's out of school again tomorrow. She spiked a fever at the end of the day. And I'm worried because if you don't show up, they will give your spot away. Right. So, so it's really important that she not lose her seat in that class, and we have to move to a different school. And so I was like, she's coming. I promise you she is coming. She is just not well. And luckily by Friday, she was, theoretically she wasn't really, but we sent her because we knew at this point it was somatic. It was just how her anxiety was processing inside of her body. And both of my girls are this way. When they are feeling a lot of anxiety, they have stomach aches, they have headaches, they have, and it's a real thing that this connection between mind and body is so strong. So then when you layer on a health issue, a chronic health issue on top of then the combination, I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot to overcome because it's almost like the double whammy, because both of those things are real and true.
Yeah, I think the challenge for me was what I don't do today that I used to do when I got in pain. When the pain would flare, I would panic. How am I going to deal with this? Oh my God, this is too much for me. I don't panic anymore. And so I'm able to breathe through my pain. It doesn't mean the pain goes away, but I'm able to tolerate it and breathe through it and not make it worse than when I did when I panicked. And that's something I've realized just in the last couple of years, having these conversations with people. What did I do? What did I do? Well, interesting. I'm not panicking anymore. Like, I know the pain is going to arise. It's going to hit me. It's going to hit me harder sometimes than I expect. But if I just continue to breathe, then I can maneuver through it. But I want to caution people from labeling folks as psychosomatic. Yes, I can do some things to control how I react to the pain, but the pain doesn't go away.
Right.
And so to think that, oh, you should be able to get through anything, well, maybe I should, but I choose to do what I can, and I choose to also rest and get the support that I need and not force myself to do everything.
Yes.
So
Well, I can attest to, my daughter, when she had that fever, she couldn't have sat in a classroom. I mean, she was lethargic. She was glassy eyed. I mean, it was not like she just didn't feel well. I mean, she had a full blown fever, right? I mean, it was just, she didn't belong in a classroom. I mean, I think she began, her sister got to school all week. I think she began to process some of that. But even if some of it is being created by the mind body connection, it's still very real what is happening in your body. It's not like at that point you can think it away. You have triggered a response in your body that has to follow its course. Right. These are real connections that happen inside of us. And so you've learned to panic less. And was that a conscious thing? You said you came to realize that. So what is
I
the
came to realize
story
that
that you
that's what I
tell
was.
yourself that helps you to not fall into a pattern of panic anymore? Like, what do you say to
Yeah.
yourself, or how do you navigate that?
So I'll start with the unexpected pains that happen, because that I don't know when they're gonna. I mean, like, it was supposed to rain today, and I'm glad it didn't. I felt the pain building, but when the
Mm.
rain comes in, the change in the pressure system that completely sends my body into this high intensity pain from fingertips down to my toes, around my neck, my back, and everything. So I knew it was supposed to be raining today. So I had to do a lot of breathing last night to prepare myself for what I might wake up to. But when I don't know, and all of a sudden I wake up, or I'm sitting on the couch and I'm just feeling this incredible flare, I have to just stop whatever I'm doing and take a breath. And then ironically, the next thing is usually to get up and walk around. And that's really hard when I'm hurting so much. But I do it because I know that it loosens me up a little bit, and it'll
Mm.
reduce the pain level. It doesn't take it away, but it'll reduce it. So it's really about telling myself I can do it. Get up, stand up, we can do the fight. It's a song, right? Stand up, get up, and I just have to stay hopeful and optimistic that which I know what to do will continue to work until it doesn't, and then I'll have to find something else. But the story that I tell myself is, I deserve to live a really beautiful, healthy, prosperously, positively abundant life, pain-free, with patience for myself and others, and to value all of who I am, and that I'm okay, that I should be happy, that I should know my true worth, that I am loving, lovable, and loved. I have to tell myself these things to believe them, so that I can go from that wilting flower to the vibrant, strong, glowing flower. And I will be honest, not every day does it work. Some days it's just like,
Right.
I don't want to believe it. That's BS. I don't believe it. And it's usually just moments in a day, not the whole day. So just really helping to identify. The other thing the stories I used to tell myself was that, and you hear people all the time, you ask them how their day is, and they say, it's kind of a bad day. But that hummingbird taught me that if there's one thing that makes me smile, it's a good day with maybe a lot of shitty moments. Excuse my language.
No,
Right? It's a
no,
good
I
day.
love it.
It's a good
Yes.
day. But I have to be willing to, like we talked about earlier, about defining ourselves. We can also define the day in the way that supports our true, real experience. There are so many moments in a day. Count them. Well, you got 24 hours. How many minutes are in an hour, and how many moments are in a minute? Right? So many moments that you have to find out what's outweighing. Is it all the bad, or is there the good? And you can create good just like you can create bad in your life. So where do you want to put your attention? Because where you will put your attention grows.
Yes, yes. That is 100% spot on. And it's so beautiful to hear that shared by you, Misha. Thank you. I mean, I can't wait to do this clip and post this out. And this is gonna people that just need to take that little speech you gave and put it on repeat, because we allow circumstances, we allow other people, we allow our internal critic to turn our attention to the bad moments and keep it there.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's science that proves that we're much more attached to negative than we are to positive. There's brain
Yes.
science. right?
So, but we have the option, like you said, we have the option to create, to get creative like you did for your mom and create moments that fill our cup, moments that bring us joy, moments that give us purpose. So you were sitting there without purpose, without real meaning, watching her die. And then you found a way to bring meaning into the final moments of her life. Right? I mean, that is the essence of happiness for us.
Yeah.
We have to have meaning, and we have to be walking into that meaning. And when you tell yourself that every day, I love your honesty that there are moments that you lose it, but when you lose it, you don't abandon it.
Mm-hmm.
You allow yourself to pick it back up, like your favorite scarf, and wrap up in its warmth again.
Yeah, because we're masterpieces in progress. We're not perfect. Life would be so boring if we were perfect.
You're very right. Well, I regret to say we are at the end of our time, but this was such a lovely conversation. And I am so happy that you said yes. Thank you for saying yes and for sharing this beautiful wisdom with all of us. I know I'm going to have this on repeat for myself. I think there are times whenever you feel, look, if you're listening to this, whenever you feel like I've got to pour into myself today, you got to get this little clip. I'm going to create it for all of us. It'll be out there. You can snag it and put it in your save folder, and you can listen to Misha remind you that you are loved, and that you can love others, and that there is purpose, and that you can bring it into your life every day. Any final thoughts that you want to share before we say goodbye to everyone?
Just, just a reminder that, and I said this a little bit earlier, but I really want to hone in on this, that some people don't feel they deserve joy. Some people don't feel that they're worthy of it, or they're afraid of it because they think the other shoe will drop. And the reality is the other shoe will drop. The storms will keep storming and the challenges will keep challenging. So build your resilience with joy and rest, knowing that you then can handle every shoe that drops. It might not feel good, but you can feel better knowing that you've resourced yourself.
I love it. Yes. So look, you need to connect with Misha. The best place is LinkedIn. So I've got her LinkedIn in the chat. I'm trying not to sneeze. You want to receive all of it. I mean, her stuff that she posts is it's just all of this wisdom. You want this in your life every day. So make sure that you are getting connected with her. And once again, this is her website. If you're interested in talking with her more, it's another way you can get to her. Thank you for being guest today. I loved having this time with you. For everyone listening, coming up next week on Wednesday, Elisa Juarez, fresh from South by Southwest and the World Happiness Summit, speaking in those two places, is coming here to our show. And she is going to talk about giving herself permission to step into a role of advocating for what she believes in. And I think right now, a lot of us need a little bolster around giving ourselves the permission and the confidence to do that. And then the next day, Thursday at 8 a.m. So Elisa's at 10 a.m. on Wednesday. On Thursday at 8 a.m., Leanne Elliott is joining us from Europe, and she is a psychologist and the host of the #1 business podcast in the UK, Truth, Lies, and Work. She's going to share her wisdom about a time in her life when she was learning how to be a manager and needed to learn to accept help. Something that we all could do a little self-work on, I'm thinking. So make sure that you are following, that you're liking, you're sharing, and inviting others to the show. I'll see you back next week. Have a great week, everyone. Bye.
Bye.